the true story of this grandmother, sold by my stepmom into dark secrets I could never escape. Anna's hands were known for magic in our little town. Every carve, every stitch told stories, stories of hope, heart, and grit. But all of that shattered one rainy night in 1965 in a forgotten village deep in the south. That night her world cracked open, and the shadows spilled inside. Her father's sudden death hit like a thunderbolt, but it was what came next that broke Anna, the cruel twist no one saw coming. Carmosina, her stepmother, smiled like a saint, but beneath that smile lurked poison. From the moment the funeral ended, strange things began, whispered voices at odd hours, locked doors where Anna used to find comfort, and cold looks that sliced sharper than knives. One evening, as the storm howled outside, Carmosina cornered Anna in the dark kitchen, her eyes empty but calculating. "You're just a burden now," she hissed, voice low and venomous. Anna's heart hammered, her chest seized tight. She wanted to scream, to run, but her legs froze like they were carved from ice. Then came the worst betrayal, sold, like a thing, to men wrapped in shadows. Human traffickers under the cover of night dragged her away from everything she loved. The world blurred, rain splashing on concrete, harsh voices barking orders, cold metal cuffs biting into her wrists. Every breath gasped felt jagged, every step forward pulled her deeper into a nightmare. But just when despair threatened to consume her, Anna met Juvenal, a boy with haunted eyes, caught in his own nightmare. They shared silent looks heavy with pain and stolen hope. Together, through whispered plans and stolen moments, they dreamed of escape. The city of their dreams, São Paulo, the chaos, the noise, the promise of being lost but finally free. Their escape was desperate, dodging hungry streets, hiding in dark alleys, hearts pounding in unison. The sprawling city swallowed them whole, alleys glowing under flickering street lamps, the relentless buzz of life pressing in from all sides. Exhausted but alive, they stumbled onto the doorstep of Miss Zefa, a woman whose eyes told stories of sorrow and survival. Miss Zefa's home was a fragile sanctuary. Walls creaked with memories, but safe hands and soft words offered Anna a space to breathe. Yet, peace came unevenly. Nights made her relive every dark terror. Her reflection was a stranger's face, but beneath it, a fierce fire sparked, the fierce will to reclaim herself. It was there in that quiet room, amidst fellow survivors' broken stories, that Anna found her voice flickering back to life. She dreamed of building something, a network, a refuge for others like her. Women who had suffered the unspeakable, waiting for a hand to pull them from darkness. But just as that faint hope took root, her phone rang. The screen's cold light threw sharp shadows across her face. Her pulse raced. The voice on the other end carried a secret so heavy, it made the air around her crack. A secret that could unravel everything, her safety, her future, her hard-won freedom. Anna sat frozen, the phone burning in her hand. Could she face this new darkness? Or was it about to pull her back underground? What happened next? The silence swallowed her answer, leaving only the pounding in her chest and a question hanging thick in the heavy air. Hey, before you continue with this incredible story, I have an important warning for you. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has removed their subscriptions without warning. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content. And while you're there, leave that powerful like. It helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love meeting all the amazing people who are part of this community. Your participation makes a difference. Let's interact. Anna sat in silence, the phone heavy in her trembling hand. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her heart. The voice on the other end was cold, sending chills down her spine. "We know where you are, Anna. You can't hide," it whispered, every word dripping with malice. Her mind raced. Could this be some cruel trick? The shadows of her past loomed larger, swallowing her courage. Just then, Miss Zefa entered the room. The creaking floorboards announced her presence. "Anna," she called softly, sensing the tension thick enough to cut. Anna didn't respond. Her mind was too tangled, too overwhelmed. "Who are you talking to?" Miss Zefa's eyes narrowed with concern, deep wrinkles lining her forehead like cracks in old wood. Before Anna could answer, the phone slipped from her grip, falling to the floor with a clatter. The screen cracked, a spider web of fractures spreading out like the chaos in her heart. Did something happen? What did they say? Miss Zefa rushed to her side, worry etched into her features. It was the traffickers, Anna stammered. They know I'm here. Miss Zefa's face paled, turning ashen like a blown-out candle. We have to go, now. But before they could move, the front door flew open with a deafening crash. A group of men surged into the room, their faces shadowed under dark hoods. Anna's breath caught, horror gripping her lungs. Too late. One of them shouted, pushing aside the frail furniture with a violent shove while others spread out, securing the exits. Run! Miss Zefa yelled, fiercely protective, but they barely had time to react. Anna's instincts kicked in, an electrifying surge of fear and adrenaline propelling her towards the back door, but the men were already blocking her path. Just then, in the confusion, she caught sight of a familiar face amongst the intruders. It was Juvenal. But something was off. His eyes, once filled with pain and shared hope, now gleamed with a cold resolve. Juvenal? Anna gasped, confusion melting into betrayal. What are you doing? He stepped forward, the shadows of both fear and authority cloaking him. I'm sorry, Anna. This is the only way. They promised me freedom if I bring you back, he said, his voice trembling as if he too was caught in a whirlwind. The room fell into an uneasy silence as the men glanced between them, waiting for the next move. Anna's stomach dropped. How could he betray her? Visibly shaken, Miss Zefa's eyes flicked between Anna and Juvenal. You sold her out? She hissed, disbelief flooding her tone. Juvenal shook his head, guilt flickering across his features. I was desperate. I thought I could save myself. I didn't want you to suffer, Anna. Anna felt her heart fracture, the space between them swelling with an unbearable depth of shame and anger. You think this is saving me. You're bringing them back to sell me again. The men grew restless, watching the emotional wreckage unfold. One of them barked an order, demanding they stop talking. But before fear could completely paralyze her, Anna realized, deep down, she had a choice. Could she still fight, or was she trapped in this darker web of betrayal? What are you going to do? Juvenal asked, desperation painting his voice as he stepped closer. Nothing. One of the men shouted, grabbing Anna's arm. You're coming with us now. Anna's voice broke. Wait, you can't take me. But the grip tightened, pulling her towards the door, her feet dragging. Then it clicked. The darkness descended and she saw the whole picture. The stolen identities, the friendships that weren't really friendships. Miss Zefa, are you a part of this too? Miss Zefa's face twisted in shock but quickly morphed into something conflicted, like she was grappling with a haunting truth. What secrets had she hidden all along? Shock rippled through the air, leaving Anna breathless. The lines were drawn, trust shattered. Where would this betrayal lead? The door loomed ahead, darkness spilling outward. And just like that, the choices whispered her name, echoing in the fearful silence. Anna's breath caught as the men closed in, a suffocating web of fear tightening around her. Juvenal, please, she pleaded, desperation crackling in her voice. You don't have to do this. But before he could respond, a loud bang echoed through the air. The floor beneath them shook. The lights flickered, stuttering as if unsure whether to flee the impending chaos. What was happening? One of the intruders cursed, looking over his shoulder, worry flashing across his shadowed features. What the hell was that? He jerked toward the door, fists clenching. In the chaos, Anna seized the moment, her heart racing 1,000 beats a minute. She glanced at Miss Zefa, whose eyes mirrored her own panic. We have to find a way out. The door crashed open again. A figure stepped forward, framed in the doorway like a specter from a nightmare. Anna's brain struggled to process the details. The person stood tall, draped in dark clothes, wielding a weapon. Then came the voice. Step away from her. It was strong and sure, slicing through the tension like a knife. Anna's heart leaped into her throat. It was Miguel, her long-lost brother, the brother she thought was dead. Emotions surged through her, crashing like waves. He stood there, defying the shadows that had haunted her. Miguel, she whispered, disbelief coursing through her veins. But how? He didn't answer. Instead, he swung the weapon around, aiming at the men, eyes piercing with fury. Get away from my sister. The room fell silent, the air thick with shock. The intruders froze, hesitation flickering across their faces. For one precious moment, the tide shifted in Anna's favor. But then Juvenal stepped forward, eyes ablaze with betrayal. You're alive!" His voice cracked. As if time had slowed, Miguel's gaze locked onto Juvenal. "Stay away from her!" he shouted, and Anna felt her heart race, confusion mixing with hope. "Why are you working with them?" Juvenal pressed, anger spilling over. "You sold us out." Miguel's eyes widened, realization dawning. "No, I'm here to rescue Anna, not to hurt her. There's something bigger going on." One of the hooded men moved, but Miguel's weapon stayed steady. "Don't even think about it." The fear and tension coiled around them like a noose. Anna knew she had to act fast. "Miguel, there's no time. We have to leave." Suddenly, the ground shook again, this time accompanied by a low rumble, a tremor that seemed to crawl beneath their feet. The walls trembled, dust raining down from above. Then, with a deafening crash, the ceiling buckled and a torrent of debris cascaded around them, a burst of chaos that obscured the path forward. Anna screamed, instinctively clutching Miguel's arm. The world spun into a frenzied whirl of dust and panic. But in that chaos, a deafening sound pierced the air, an alarm blaring, warning of danger. "What now?" A man yelled, his bravado fading. As the chaos settled, a larger truth loomed closer. Anna's heart raced, fear melding with the unknown. "What did you bring me into, Miguel?" But before he could reply, a shadowy figure emerged from the haze, eyes cold and calculating. Carmosina, standing defiantly at the center of destruction. "Did you really think you could escape me, Anna?" She hissed, betrayal wrapped in her chilling smile. Anna's stomach dropped. A million emotions crashed through her, fear, pain, but finally clarity. All along, she had been a pawn in a game much bigger than herself. Suddenly, everything she believed shattered. Miguel's return, Juvenal's betrayal, it twisted into something darker. What was real? The pieces began to fall apart, and she felt the icy tendrils of a deeper conspiracy weave around her. Carmosina stepped closer, her gaze glimmering with malevolence. "Welcome back to the family, Anna." Questions flooded Anna's mind. What did that mean? What secrets had her life been built upon? "Prepare yourself, we're only just beginning." And just like that, a new darkness settled over Anna, plunging her into layers of horror she had yet to uncover. What choice would she make now? Were they all in this together? Or was it each for themselves as the landscape of betrayal unfolded around them? The air was charged heavy with uncertainty, and she could feel the walls closing in. Anna's breath quickened as Carmosina stepped closer, her smile a sinister reminder of the darkness that had haunted her. The room pulsed with the tension of betrayal, and Anna could feel the walls closing in, the sense of foreboding weighing heavy in the air. "You think you can survive this time, Anna?" Carmosina sneered. "You always were too naive." Miguel's grip tightened around his weapon, muscles coiling like a spring. "Stay back," he warned, his gaze darting between Anna and his stepmother. Without warning, the floor trembled again, a deep rumble that shook the very foundation of the house. The men exchanged nervous glances, uncertainty flashing in their eyes. Anna's heart raced. What was happening? She could feel it in her bones. Something monumental was about to unfold. Then, as if the universe itself conspired to break the tension, the ceiling gave way. A heavy beam crashed down barely inches from Miguel, sending dust and debris spiraling through the air like a storm. "Run!" Anna shouted, adrenaline surging through her as chaos erupted. But just as quickly, everything went still. In the eerie silence that followed, a figure emerged from beneath the wreckage, draped in a cloak of darkness. The light flickered back on, revealing a woman with wild hair and piercing eyes filled with a madness that sent chills up Anna's spine. It was someone she thought she'd never see again. "Mama!" Anna's voice cracked, disbelief choking her. "Is it really you?" The woman stepped forward, ignoring the destruction around her, her smile a twisted mirror of Carmosina's. "Oh, my sweet girl," she cooed, extending her arms. "I've been waiting for you." Miguel's expression twisted with confusion, his weapon lowered but not forgotten. "What are you doing here?" he asked, bewildered. Carmosina glared, fury igniting in her eyes. "You shouldn't have come here." Anna couldn't process the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. This was her mother, lost, broken, thought to be dead. Yet here she stood like a ghost from the past. How? Why? Tears streamed down Anna's cheeks. I had to find you. Her mother said, her voice a haunting lullaby, though laced with something darker. They took me too, you know. They thought they could erase me, but they underestimated our bond. Carmosina hissed, you're just a ghost of the past. You have no power here. But Anna's mother only laughed, a sound that shivered through the air, reverberating off the broken walls. Oh, but you're mistaken. I hold more power than you could ever imagine. In that heartbeat, the atmosphere shifted, fear and hope twisted into one. What do you mean? Anna whispered, longing for answers. I'm not who you think I am, her mother replied, stepping closer, shadows stretching around her. I wasn't just a victim, I was part of something much bigger. Anna's heart raced, confusion tangling with disbelief. What do you mean, you were taken, tortured? Much worse, she softly declared, her smile chilling Anna to the bone. I made choices for our survival. I became something that could fight back. Suddenly, the door swung open with a force that rattled the frames. In stormed a battalion of soldiers, uniforms crisp and eyes cold, weapons raised, a drastic turn toward a rescue or a capture. The sounds of chaos dissolved into a symphony of confusion. Each figure held a different expression: fear, anger, shock. The leader stepped forward, gaze locked onto Anna's mother. Is it true? He demanded, his voice echoing like thunder. You're alive! The tension snapped like a twig underfoot. What is going on? Anna gasped, her heart plummeting into the abyss of uncertainty. In the shadows, we have thrived and plotted, her mother confessed. What you thought was a nightmare was only a facade, one I helped create. Anna's mind spun, grappling with the implications of her mother's revelation. This was too much, too twisted, too unreal. But, no, Anna stammered, disbelief painted across her face. Yes, my dear, her mother replied, the darkness swirling around her like a cloak. And now we're here to reclaim what is ours. Betrayal surged through Anna's chest, thick like syrup, choking her resolve. Relationships hung by a thread, and the nature of her reality began to unravel like a cheap tapestry. The air hummed with tension, and she could feel the ground shift beneath her. Was it possible that her own mother had orchestrated the darkness that had consumed her life? As the soldiers advanced, she glanced between Miguel, her mother, and Carmosina. A sea of questions rushed through her mind, drowning her clarity. Who could she trust now? With the storm of conflict brewing, one thing felt clear. The game was far from over, and the truth of her family might be the darkest secret of all. Anna's heart raced as her mother stepped forward, a dark specter wrapped in secrets and shadows. You're alive, she whispered, caught between disbelief and longing. Carmosina's face twisted with rage. This isn't the reunion you think it is. The soldiers froze, unsure of what to do next. The room crackled with tension, air thick and stale with the weight of old betrayals. This is insane, Anna exclaimed. What kind of twisted game is this? Then, before anyone could respond, a deafening explosion shattered the moment. The ground violently shook, the walls vibrating with fury. A storm of dust filled the air as chunks of the building crumbled around them, cascading down like a rain of violence. Get down! Someone shouted, but it was too late. A beam came crashing down, slamming into one of the soldiers, sending him sprawling to the floor in a mess of smoke and chaos. In that instant, everything erupted. The soldiers screamed, scrambling to follow orders that no longer made sense. Miguel pulled Anna close, shielding her from the debris raining down. We have to move, he yelled. The air was thick with panic and confusion. Bodies darted everywhere, frantic movements blending into a chaotic blur. Anna could feel the heat of the explosion at her back as she and Miguel pushed through the debris-laden space. But there, amidst the chaos, something caught her eye. A shiny object flickered beneath the rubble, a glint of metal that shouldn't have been there. She hesitated, but Miguel pulled her along, urgency pulsing through their veins. No, Anna screamed, breaking free to rush back toward the ominous sparkle. I have to see what that is. Don't, it's too dangerous, he shouted, pulling at her arm. But her curiosity clawed at her, stronger than her fear. She knelt, digging through the shattered remains, her fingers trembling with every inch she moved. As she cleared the dust, she held it up, a locket intricately designed, the surface cold against her skin. The cold metal pressed heavily against her heart, a sense of dread coiling in her stomach. Anna opened it slowly, breath hitching in her throat as the pictures inside came into view. The faces looked familiar, her own, as a child, smiling brightly beside a woman she had believed was dead for years. But next to her was a man, dark eyes, a haunting resemblance that twisted her insides. "Miguel, look at this," she gasped, the locket trembling in her grasp. But her brother was too busy weaving through the disarray to pay attention. "Anna, we need to go now," he shouted over the chaos, his eyes darting. But all Anna could see was the man's face, a chilling realization tapping at the edges of her mind. Who was he, and why did he know her? Her thoughts spiraled, but there was no time for questions. As she turned the locket in her trembling hands, a figure emerged from the dust. A soldier, standing defiantly, weapon aimed straight at her. "Drop it," he barked, eyes wild with adrenaline. Anna's breath caught again, panic flooding her as she tossed the locket aside. The object clattered, echoing in the chaos. She couldn't think. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to get as far away as possible. Then, through the cloud, her mother's voice rose above the noise. "Stop!" she commanded, her tone ringing with authority. "She's one of us." "What?" The soldier faltered, confusion flashing across his face, but it was too late. Anna's world turned upside down as Carmosina lunged forward, forcing a dark truth into the light. "Your father," she said, voice cold as ice, "never died. He faked his death to protect her from us." The room fell silent. Anna's heart shattered as the ground dropped away beneath her. It felt like the floor had vanished, leaving only an abyss of secrets behind. Suddenly, everyone's gaze turned toward Anna, the weight of their eyes burning holes through her soul. It was as if she had merely been a pawn in a game that dictated her life. The locket lay forgotten at her feet, a painful testament to a reality she never knew. "Miguel," she called, her voice trembling. "What does this mean?" But before he could answer, a new sound broke through, a siren wailing outside like a call to arms. The soldiers' faces went pale. The approaching sirens heralded an unwelcome truth. Anna felt a chill run down her spine. What lay ahead? And could she ever trust anyone around her again? The world spun, her reality warping in ways she couldn't understand yet. The father she thought was gone. The mother who had schemed, the brother she loved. "Make a choice, Anna," her mother hissed, her once comforting presence amplifying the chaos. "This is your world now." With the sirens growing louder and the truth hanging in the air, Anna stood frozen, heart pounding. Where would this revelation take her? A new darkness was closing in, and she was left with an impossible choice. Anna stood frozen in the chaos, the revelation of her mother's twisted truth still rattling in her chest. "This is your world now," her mother had said. The sirens outside echoed like a distant reminder of the impending doom. But just as dread clung to the room, a new sound ripped through the air, an ear-piercing crack echoed, louder and sharper than the explosions before. All eyes turned to the far corner of the room, where a wall trembled. "What was that?" Miguel shouted, urgency etched into his voice. Before anyone could comprehend, the wall burst open, splintering into jagged pieces. Dust clouded the air, thick and choking. A figure emerged, tempestuous and wild, silhouette framed by the destruction. Everyone stepped back, hearts pounding with fear and confusion. Then the figure stepped into the flickering light, and Anna's breath caught in her throat. It was her father alive, standing there, alive and very much real. She staggered back, shock tearing through her. "Dad!" He looked older, worn by time and hardship, but his eyes still blazed with a fierce warmth. "Anna," he shouted, a mix of joy and urgency. "We don't have much time." Carmosina's face was a mask of disbelief, anger radiating from her. "You shouldn't be here. You're supposed to be dead." Regret tinged her voice, a crack appearing in her icy facade. "Who don't you understand?" He spat, narrowing his eyes at her. "I faked my death to protect her, from you, from this life." The room stood still, breathless and electrified. Shock-crossed faces, murmurs echoed, uncertainty rippling like a wave. Anna felt the ground shift again beneath her as she teetered on the brink of a massive upheaval of everything she thought she knew. "Why? How?" Anna's voice faltered as she took a hesitant step forward, heart racing. This was too much. Her family, her history, it was all a lie. I had to disappear to keep you safe, he explained, urgency mixed with a tinge of guilt. But when I heard you were taken, I started digging into this darkness. I uncovered a network. He glanced at all the soldiers. This is just the beginning. But as he spoke, the chaos shifted. Another figure slipped past the soldiers, eyes darting around, a girl, no older than Anna, with a whistle of defiance as she maneuvered through the wreckage. Get back, she called, voice fierce, before raising an object high, an explosive device. Wait, no! Anna shouted, eyes wide with horror. The girl detonated it right there. The ground trembled with a deafening roar, the blast ripping through the room with terrifying force, sending bodies and debris flying. Screams filled the air as chaos erupted. A tide of shouts, falling furniture, sheer panic. Anna was thrown backward, landing hard against the wall. Struggling to her feet, she shook off shock and scanned the chaos. Bodies scrambled to escape, the remnants of a once familiar sanctuary, now a hellscape of dust and screams. Amidst the mayhem, her father reached for her, eyes wild with terror. Anna, we have to leave, he screamed, but another voice cut through the chaos, icy and mocking. You thought it was over. Carmosina sneered, emerging from the dust, rallying the remaining soldiers around her. Anna's heart raced. No, this can't be. But as she took another step, everything shattered again. As if in slow motion, another figure stalked out of the shadows, a woman with a cruel smile, holding a remote, fingers poised on the button. Welcome back, family, she cooed. Ready for round 2? Time stopped, panic hung thick in the air. Who are you? Anna's voice trembled, caught between disbelief and recognition. Then came the twist, revealing the woman's identity, a long-lost relative, part of a larger conspiracy that stretched beyond anything Anna had imagined. You're not just a pawn, dear. You're the queen in a game that spans decades, she hissed. And just like that, everything flipped again. Anna's family, her life, every second she had fought to escape was unfolding into a web more complex than she could handle. She felt it all collapse around her, the heavy weight of secrets intensifying. The room spun, the voices blending into a cacophony of chaos. How deep did this rabbit hole go? And who could she truly trust now? The sirens wailed louder, the storm outside mirroring the tempest within. Anna stood frozen in the chaos, the revelation of her mother's twisted truth still rattling in her chest. This is your world now, her mother had said. The sirens outside echoed like a distant reminder of the impending doom. But just as dread clung to the room, a new sound ripped through the air, an ear-piercing crack echoed, louder and sharper than the explosions before. All eyes turned to the far corner of the room, where a wall trembled. What was that? Miguel shouted, urgency etched into his voice. Before anyone could comprehend, the wall burst open, splintering into jagged pieces. Dust clouded the air, thick and choking. A figure emerged, tempestuous and wild, silhouette framed by the destruction. Everyone stepped back, hearts pounding with fear and confusion. Then the figure stepped into the flickering light, and Anna's breath caught in her throat. It was her father alive, standing there, alive and very much real. She staggered back, shock tearing through her. Dad! He looked older, worn by time and hardship, but his eyes still blazed with fierce warmth. Anna. He shouted, a mix of joy and urgency. We don't have much time. Carmosina's face twisted with disbelief, anger radiating from her. You shouldn't be here. You're supposed to be dead. Regret tinged her voice, a crack appearing in her icy facade. Who don't you understand? He spat, narrowing his eyes at her. I faked my death to protect her from you, from this life. The room stood still, breathless and electrified. Shock crossed faces, murmurs echoed, uncertainty rippling like a wave. Anna felt the ground shift again beneath her as she teetered on the brink of a massive upheaval of everything she thought she knew. Why? How? Anna's voice faltered as she took a hesitant step forward, heart racing. This was too much. Her family, her history, it was all a lie. I had to disappear to keep you safe, he explained, urgency mixed with a tinge of guilt. But when I heard you were taken, I started digging into this darkness. I uncovered a network. He glanced at all the soldiers. This is just the beginning. But as he spoke, the chaos shifted. Another figure slipped past the soldiers, eyes darting around, a girl, no older than Anna, with a whistle of defiance as she maneuvered through the wreckage. "Get back!" she called, voice fierce, before raising an object high, an explosive device. "Wait, no!" Anna shouted, eyes wide with horror. The girl detonated it right there. The ground trembled with a deafening roar, the blast ripping through the room with terrifying force, sending bodies and debris flying. Screams filled the air as chaos erupted. A tide of shouts, falling furniture, sheer panic. Anna was thrown backward, landing hard against the wall. Struggling to her feet, she shook off shock and scanned the chaos. Bodies scrambled to escape, the remnants of a once familiar sanctuary, now a hellscape of dust and screams. Amidst the mayhem, her father reached for her, eyes wild with terror. "Anna, we have to leave," he screamed, but another voice cut through the chaos, icy and mocking. "You thought it was over." Carmosina sneered, emerging from the dust, rallying the remaining soldiers around her. Anna's heart raced. "No, this can't be." But as she took another step, everything shattered again. As if in slow motion, another figure stalked out of the shadows. A woman with a cruel smile, holding a remote, fingers poised on the button. "Welcome back, family," she cooed. "Ready for round 2? Time stopped, panic hung thick in the air. "Who are you?" Anna's voice trembled, caught between disbelief and recognition. Then came the twist, revealing the woman's identity. A long-lost relative, part of a larger conspiracy that stretched beyond anything Anna had imagined. "You're not just a pawn, dear, you're the queen in a game that spans decades," she hissed. And just like that, everything flipped again. Anna's family, her life, every second she had fought to escape was unfolding into a web more complex than she could handle. She felt it all collapse around her, the heavy weight of secrets intensifying. The room spun, the voices blending into a cacophony of chaos. How deep did this rabbit hole go, and who could she truly trust now? The sirens wailed louder, the storm outside mirroring the tempest within. Anna stood paralyzed, heart racing in the thick tension of the room, her father's shocking return cutting through the chaos. "Dad," she whispered, disbelief anchoring her feet to the ground. Her family was unraveling in front of her, and the weight of it all felt suffocating. Just then, the long-lost relative, who had emerged from the shadows, shifted, her calculating glare narrowing. "This changes nothing," she shouted, voice dripping with venom. "You can't protect her. You think your little family can escape the web we've spun." Miguel took a step toward Anna, protective instinct flaring in his eyes. "We'll find a way out. We always do." He reached for her hand, but the room erupted with something far worse. "Enough!" Carmosina yelled, her voice booming like thunder. Suddenly, from behind her, the floor quaked again, shaking the very foundation of their reality. The explosion had rattled loose something beneath them, and Anna felt the air shift. Then, with blinding speed, the wall exploded inward again, revealing a hidden chamber. Out from the gaping maw of destruction emerged a gaunt man, crouching low with a fierce determination. His eyes sparkled with fury, his hands clutched tightly around a bundle that shifted. Her breath hitched in her throat. From within the folds, a small girl tumbled out, wide-eyed and trembling. "Help me!" she cried, voice sharp with panic. Anna's heart shattered. This wasn't just any girl. This was someone she had only seen in the shadows of her mind, a face she recognized from long-lost memories. It was her sister. "Sophia!" Anna choked, disbelief flooding her senses. She had believed she was gone forever, lost in the dark abyss of their family's secrets. Her father's expression morphed from joy to horror, all emotions colliding in a fragile instant. You found her." He staggered back, speechless. But just as salvation glimmered, the room exploded again. A new sound echoed, this time a series of gunshots. The soldiers' eyes widened in shock, confusion spreading like wildfire. Whispers flared into shouts as chaos unraveled once more. Sophia's arrival had thrown everything into disarray. Men scrambled, their loyalties fracturing in the tumult. "Get them!" Carmosina screamed, fury igniting in her eyes that turned frigid like ice. Anna felt hands grip her shoulders, and suddenly she was being pulled, her father rushing to shield Sophia with his body. shielding her from the storms brewing around them. "Run, get them to safety," he shouted, his voice fierce and desperate. Then it happened, something unimaginable. The woman with the cruel smile, the long-lost relative, pressed a button. The ground shook with a violent tremor, a wave of force washing over all of them. Suddenly, the entire room began to implode around them. "No!" Anna screamed as the room trembled, debris crashing down. It felt surreal and terrifying, like a nightmare she couldn't escape from. But in the chaos, one thing stood clear. Truths were being unveiled faster than she could grasp them. That her father might not have been completely innocent, or that her mother wasn't the true villain. Were they all connected in this larger, twisted game of power and deception? And just like that, as the walls closed in and the dust thickened around her, Anna felt a sharp pain slice through her chest. A realization so fierce it brought her to her knees. This is all connected to us, to me. Carmosina's laughter vibrated through the dust-filled air, chilling and cruel. "You think this is the end? This is merely the beginning." Anna gasped, her world spinning. The weight of betrayal hung like a shroud. Would she survive this reality? Could she face the secrets that intertwined their fates? The echoes of chaos closed in, and uncertainty loomed larger than ever. The foundations of her identity were crumbling, but what lay beyond the rubble? As the darkness threatened to swallow her whole, Anna braced herself for the unthinkable. What would she fight for next? Anna stood paralyzed, heart racing in the thick tension of the room, her father's shocking return cutting through the chaos. "Dad!" she whispered, disbelief anchoring her feet to the ground. Her family was unraveling in front of her, and the weight of it all felt suffocating. Just then, the long-lost relative, who had emerged from the shadows, shifted, her calculating glare narrowing. "This changes nothing," she shouted, voice dripping with venom. "You can't protect her. You think your little family can escape the web we've spun." Miguel took a step toward Anna, protective instinct flaring in his eyes. "We'll find a way out. We always do." He reached for her hand, but the room erupted with something far worse. "Enough." Carmosina yelled, her voice booming like thunder. Suddenly, from behind her, the floor quaked again, shaking the very foundation of their reality. The explosion had rattled loose something beneath them, and Anna felt the air shift. Then, with blinding speed, the wall exploded inward again, revealing a hidden chamber. Out from the gaping maw of destruction emerged a gaunt man, crouching low with a fierce determination. His eyes sparkled with fury, his hands clutched tightly around a bundle that shifted. Her breath hitched in her throat. From within the folds, a small girl tumbled out, wide-eyed and trembling. "Help me," she cried, voice sharp with panic. Anna's heart shattered. This wasn't just any girl. This was someone she had only seen in the shadows of her mind, a face she recognized from long-lost memories. It was her sister. Sophia. Anna choked, disbelief flooding her senses. She had believed she was gone forever, lost in the dark abyss of their family's secrets. Her father's expression morphed from joy to horror, all emotions colliding in a fragile instant. You found her." He staggered back, speechless. But just as salvation glimmered, the room exploded again. An all-too-familiar sound had everyone on high alert. Gunshots rang out, shattering their moment. "Get down!" Someone shouted, but it was too late. Soldiers scrambled, confusion spreading like wildfire. Sophia's arrival threw everything into disarray. Their family dynamic flipped upside down. Miguel shielded Anna, eyes darting. "We have to get her out." He grabbed Sophia's hand, pulling her close. But before they could move, another figure loomed in the doorway. A tall woman, shrouded in shadows, stepped forward. Her long hair fell like a veil over a familiar face, one Anna had seen in old photographs. "You have no idea how long I've waited for this moment," she said, her voice sinister. "Who are you?" Anna felt revulsion crawl over her skin. "I am Nicole, your real mother," she proclaimed, every word sharp as a blade. Anna staggered back, numbness flooding through her. "That's impossible." "Yes, it's true," Nicole hissed, a smirk carving through her tension. "I've been watching everything. You thought I was away, but I've always known. Your father's deceit kept you safe, but you've become everything I needed." Her father's face fell, betrayal etched in every line. "You're lying," he began, but his voice faltered. No, it's time to reveal the truth. The family you thought you had is simply a lie, a facade to protect you from your real destiny, Nicole declared, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Anna felt the world flip again. Everything she had believed shattered in an instant. "You're my mother," she whispered, heart racing. "But I thought you were dead." "Oh, I was never dead. I was alive, hidden, waiting for the right time," Nicole explained, her voice smooth. "And now it's time for you to play your part." Chaos roared around them as more soldiers flooded through the room, taking position. Miguel glanced at Anna, panic filling his eyes. "We need to get out now." But Nicole raised a finger, halting their movements. "Not so fast. You can't escape your true legacy," she announced, eyes dancing with malice. The reality of her betrayal sank in like cold water. "What do you want from me?" Anna cried, the world closing in as she realized how deep this family's secrets ran. Nicole stepped forward, the air shifting with tension. "I need your help, dear Anna. Together we can take back everything that was ours, or you can run, but you'll only put your loved ones in danger." Anna's mind raced. Everything she knew twisted into a knot of pain and confusion. "You're asking me to choose sides." "Yes, and you must decide quickly. The clock is ticking," Nicole sneered, tension radiating from her. As Anna felt the walls closing in around her, a deep uncertainty pulsed in her core. Was loyalty even a thing anymore? The ground trembled beneath her feet, but this time, it wasn't the room collapsing. It was the realization crashing over her. What had she been part of all along? And could she really trust anyone, even her so-called loved ones? As the chaos surged, she could feel her choice looming, a shadow draped over her heart. In that split second, she knew. Everything had shifted. The narrative she thought she knew had cracked wide open, revealing a darkness deeper than she ever imagined. Would she embrace this twisted legacy, or could she still carve her path away from this nightmare? Anna felt the weight of the world bearing down on her, the room a cacophony of chaos and emotion. "You can't do this!" She yelled at Nicole, tears blurring her vision. The sound of gunfire echoed, and soldiers scrambled as the truth unspooled in front of her. "Anna," her father said, his voice urgent but cracking. "We have to move. They're here for you, and they won't stop until they have you back." "Back where?" Anna pressed, her heart racing. "What do you want from me?" Nicole smiled, a cold, chilling smile. "I want you to fulfill your destiny, Anna. We can reclaim what's ours together." "No," Miguel shouted, stepping in front of Anna. "You will not take her away from us again." The soldiers looked between Nicole and Miguel, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. "This is it, Anna," Miguel urged softly. "We can't let them take you. We need to go now." As the tension cracked like lightning in the air, the familiar sounds of sirens grew louder, mixing with the chaos. "Dad, what do I do?" Anna turned to her father, searching for guidance. "Trust your instincts," he said, his expression both fierce and pleading. "You are stronger than you know." Amidst the turmoil, Anna felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. "We're not playing your game any longer," she shouted, raising her chin defiantly at Nicole and Carmosina. In that moment, everything shifted. Her sister Sophia clung to her hand, wide-eyed and scared. "Anna, we need to go," she pleaded, her small voice a beacon of innocence amid the storm. "Right, together," Anna echoed, determination flooding her veins. Suddenly, the ceiling shook again, dust falling like tiny stars around them. The soldiers were startled, their attention diverted. Anna seized the moment, pulling Miguel, Sophia, and her father toward the hidden exit revealed by the earlier explosion. "Follow me!" Anna shouted, adrenaline pumping. They raced through the debris-filled corridor, heartbeats loud and frantic. Behind them, Nicole's voice echoed, furious and resolute. "You can't escape me, Anna. I'll find you." But they were running now, sprinting toward a future that felt uncertain, yet filled with possibility. As they burst through the back door, the cool night air hit them like a slap. The sounds of the city filled their ears, horns blaring, voices shouting, life continuing. Breathing hard, they ducked into an alley, the shadows swallowing them whole for a moment. "We did it," Anna whispered, her heart still racing. "We're free. For now." The reality of their situation loomed large above them, but with each breath they felt a little lighter, a little bolder. Together they had evaded the grip of darkness. Anna glanced at her family, her heart swelling with love, fear melting away just slightly. "We're together now, that's what matters." Miguel nodded, but a shadow crossed his face. "We're not safe yet, we need to stay vigilant, we'll always have to look over our shoulders." "I don't care," Anna said fiercely. "As long as we have each other, we can face anything. Let them come." The sirens faded into the background, and the chaos of the night settled into a hushed stillness. They stood there together for a moment, united against the silence that followed. But deep down, Anna knew this was just the beginning. The truth was a double-edged sword, and while they had escaped one nightmare, the fight for their future was just starting. As they made their way into the unknown, questions bubbled up within her. What else lay ahead? How far would Nicole go to reclaim what she believed was hers? "Let's move," Miguel urged, eyes scanning for any signs of danger, the urgency palpable. Anna knew they had to keep going, keep moving forward. The night had only begun, and with each step, they left behind the shadows, stepping into a world uncertain but ripe with possibility. What awaited them just made their bond even stronger, and all of it fueled the fire within her. The journey wasn't over. It was time to embrace the next chapter. Don't you dare miss a single moment of this story. You must subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive tales rolling in. Click the like button now, because we all know it helps the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what'll happen next. And don't wait another second. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know how it all ends. Your support is what keeps this community thriving. Show that you're a true fan.